Geeks Worldwide, welcome back to the Capes Crew podcast. We have missed you guys. We hope you've missed us. As always, I'm your host Darth Sparrow, and I'm back with my ragtag sidekick, Mr. Casey, the Comics Kid Walsh. Casey, how you doing, man?
I'm so tired. So very, very tired.
We unfortunately have had a bout of what I call real life hit us the last couple of weeks, which is why we took in a bit of a hiatus, but we're back, and I'm glad you're still alive more so than I am. You got a lot more going on than I do, man.
Yeah, I'm taking care of a 5-year-old maniac, insane child, and a wife on bed rest while you're gallivanting at Disneyland riding Guardians of the Galaxy rides. It's really it's really
yeah, I can't complain.
Pod here, Will, really, to be honest. Kindred spirit between you.
I'm gonna take you, Casey, when the line's not 5 hours, because I know you don't do lines, but you need to get on that ride because I know
so much.
You're a huge Guardians fan. I mean, you're the one that got me into Guardians, so you got to go, man. It's awesome.
I'll go under the condition that I can hire one of those like guides for $3,000 an hour or whatever, something crazy.
You want a plaid? That's what we call them. We call them plaids because they wear the plaid suits. Yeah. We'll get you a plaid. It's okay. Or we can just hire my friends who do that. They don't work for Disney, but they still do the same thing pretty much.
I can do that too. But yeah, that's what I need. I need someone to like do all the manual work for me so I can just walk up and just walk on the ride because I am just too lazy for 5-hour wait. 5 hours, that's like your whole day. You're just like walk right up there, stand in line for 5 hours. Like, what did you do for lunch? Like, did you have snacks with you?
We did have snacks, but see, the thing is, we got there. I think we got in line at 8 o'clock, which was when the park opened. I had some friends who were there a little bit before, so really, I think they were allowing people to line up before it even opened. And I think by the time we actually boarded the ride, like walked through the line queue, actually sat down, like seatbelts on, ready to go, I think it was like right before noon. And my wife was lucky enough to get a fast pass before they were like gone within I think they were gone within 40 minutes for the whole day. Like whole day fast passes were gone, just out.
See, imagine that place when that Star Wars land. It's gonna be, just forget it.
Yeah, not even gonna be close. It's gonna be like an 8-hour wait.
Yeah, lifestyles of the rich and famous. It's just gonna be like they're just gonna charge $1,000 a ticket, and you're only gonna be able to go there if like you drive a Rolls Royce.
God, man, it's gonna be insane. But yeah, but you know what, man, it was cool because I mean, after 4 hours and having a fast pass to get on, like literally right when we got off the first round, we got to go on again. So, I mean, it kind of made the wait seem worth it to me after that. But, I mean, there's so much going on. You guys can check out my review that I posted on the site if you want to get a little bit more info about the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout attraction, which is ridiculously awesome.
You can also just watch a video on YouTube that shows the entire walkthrough and ride itself.
True. Yeah, true. Yes, exactly. But anyways, man. Yeah.
That's what I did.
Good stuff, man. But anyways, man, we're not only back tonight, but we're back with not one but two awesome guests that are joining us tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's introduce our esteemed guests for this evening. Tonight on the show, we have Mr. Jim Ousley and Mr. Benjamin Sawyer talking about their book, The Dead Palace. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. How are we doing tonight, guys?
Thanks so much for having us, man.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
Benjamin, your photo on your little avatar in the bottom, you look so deep and like very sophisticated. What's going on, man?
It's one of my more introspective photos. Yeah,
it's more introspective. You were contemplating life's mysteries in that photo. It looks like.
I was. Yep.
He's always doing.
It's awesome. Yeah. So Jim, before we get into the interview, I gotta have you repeat what we were talking about before the show started. And you did something really interesting, that we don't hear a lot of people say they did back in their early days. Some kind of show you used to perform for nuns at rectories and things. So let's tell our listeners a little bit about that, man, because it's a good story.
Oh yeah, well, yeah. When I was a kid, I used to just for extra money, like to buy Star Wars cards and things like that. I started doing a ventriloquist act, and I would be hired by like county fairs, and I would do nunneries, that's basically, and I would they would have me come out and do my ventriloquist show, puppet show, where I would the Muppets would sing along with like the current pop songs of the day. And then they would show us like a Shirley Temple movie and serve ice cream.
Yeah.
It was very strange, but I made enough money for Star Wars cards, and that's all that mattered back then.
Hey, it's all for the love of the fandom, right?
That's right.
The funny thing is, you could probably make more money doing ventriloquism now than you could writing comics. So I think you picked the wrong gig there, Jim.
I think you're right. There's no argument for me on that.
No, Jim, here's the funny thing. Here's what really cracked me up is you said you've not intentionally scared your kids with the remnants of your ventriloquist talent that you still have left in there. How does that kind of thing go about in your home?
Well, when they were younger, I would think, well, they would love to see these ventriloquist styles because they're really cool looking. So I would bring them out, and I'd be about to say something, and they would just flat out run. They would straight up be like, "Forget about it. These things are creepy. We want nothing to do with them."
One man top.
Right.
So yeah, it didn't work.
Yeah, Jim, I think when you thought like this would be cool for them, they thought like this is death incarnate right here. I'm gonna die right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking let's have fun. They're thinking you're giving me nightmares for a month.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. Thanks for the therapy bills. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. So Benjamin, like, how about you, man? Is there any crazy things you did back in the day as a kid for money?
Not for money. No, I moved around a lot. Dad was in the Navy, so
gotcha.
I got to build forts out of palm branches on Navy bases all around the country.
That's crazy, man. What's the craziest place you build the palm branch fort at?
In a lighthouse property I wasn't supposed to be in. We actually
see?
And then,
excellent.
Down this hill, sort of in this little valley, well, the perimeter of this lighthouse, we built little booby traps and out, like lookout towers, and that was all in our brain. I'm sure it was awful, like a bundle of sticks, but yeah.
That's wicked, man. It's good times. Just breaking into the lighthouses. I love it. So, gentlemen, tell us a little bit. Let's start with you, Jim. Tell us a little bit about your origin story and how you broke into comics.
There's actually, I was doing some writing work for playbackstl.com, doing like, reviews, music reviews, and things of that nature. And I met this guy named Jason Green, who was putting together this thing called Ink and Drink Comics. It's a comic book publishing company here in St. Louis, and they do anthologies twice a year. And he invited me and my friend Oscar Madrid, mine, to come on and contribute. And what they do is it's kind of a cool thing. They meet once a month, and it's basically like this big networking thing where writers meet artists, and everybody mingles and gets together and stuff. And that's where I met Ben Sawyer.
Okay.
And we just had a really good chemistry working together, and just really fun. And we just started working together a lot, and that's what led us to do the Rough and Tumble and now the Dead Palace, from working on those anthologies together.
Yeah, absolutely. What's Ben? What's your art background? I mean, have you always been doing comic book art, or did you start doing something else?
No, I've been an artist my whole life.
Okay.
Hobby or otherwise. Comics sort of happened a little bit by accident.
Okay.
I decided to go full time about 8 years ago, and me and some friends wanted to build an anthology together. Funny enough, how things kind of came full circle. And and I was the only one that completed my project. It was a little 12-page short story, and then when it was done, I was like, "Oh, holy shit! This is kind of neat. This is my own product. I'm holding it in my hands, cover to cover. It's finished." And it sort of sparked something inside of me that I could finish a product without anybody else's help. And then the ball started to roll, and friends of friends started to notice that I could put a book together. So I got contracted to do books for local hip hop artists like Tef Po. He's kind of hit the world stage lately, but and it sort of snowballed, and it took many years after that to actually get paid to do a job like that. Yeah. And then about 3 years actually to really get rolling, and about 5 years to actually live off of it. And then got published as a colorist with Zenoscope, and then went from Zenoscope back to more independent stuff like with Jim and anybody that hits me up and says, "Hey, I have a story, I need art," and I'll do it for them. So
how would you describe your art style? Is there anybody that directly influenced the way you do comics and things like that?
Well, no one person, of course.
Yeah.
I've got a whole bookshelf of inspiration. I would classify my style as a East meets West. Grew up on American comics, but then, once anime and manga happened, then that influence was huge.
Yeah,
so cool. It's sort of got I couldn't really pinpoint the East versus West example, like take it apart point by point, but it's there.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Jim, talk to us a little bit about I guess we'll say where the story of the Dead Palace originated from. How did this story come see the light of day?
Well,
Jim took his kids to this place where he hides ventriloquist dolls.
Actually, you know what? That's actually part of it. When Ben and I started speaking about doing a horror anthology, we needed a cool title for it, and I didn't want to do like anything that was like creepy or fear or there's a lot of those out there like that. We wanted something that was our own. So I thought of the Dead Palace, and the Dead Palace came from. I have 2 younger sisters, and I used to scare them in my basement. There was like this unfinished side of the basement.
I'm sensing a trend here, Jim.
Yeah, I know. And I would like light these candles in the unfinished like dark side of the basement and put my ventriloquist dolls around in the basement. And the candles would kind of flicker on their faces and they would look really creepy. And I would hold up my hands and say, "Welcome to the Dead Palace." And you know what I mean? And I would roll the eyes back in my head. And I would like say I was summoning demons. And it was, that's where it came from. The Dead Palace. They would run and tell Mom, and I would get in trouble. But it was always worth it. I read about that in the prelude, to the book. But it just came from
How much therapy have your sisters? Do they charge you for the therapy sessions individually, or?
No. Luckily for me, they laugh about it now.
Yes, like very luckily for you.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But that's where the title came from, and it just became a good sort of a good name to hang our stories on, and that's kind of how it started.
So Jim, clearly horror has been something that's been in your veins for a long time from an early age. What kind of
at least horrifying other people?
Yes.
Yeah.
What kind of things inspired that love of horror? Like, what did you grow up watching? What movies are your benchmarks of horror? We'll say.
My benchmarks when I was a kid, I used to love the old Universal black and white features, especially like the pre-code ones, like the Black Cat, the first one with Lugosi and Karloff, the first Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein. There's a Universal horror film that's not really that well known called The Old Dark House that I really loved a lot. And then later on in the 80s, it became Nightmare on Elm Street and things of that nature. And probably my favorite one is Black Christmas from the 70s with Olivia Hussey and Margot Kidder. It was directed by the same guy that directed A Christmas Story.
Oh, okay.
And Porky's.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And just a really classic film. And so I grew up with horror, and I love sci-fi and comics, but horror has always been my favorite sort of genre that I always go back to.
Okay, gotcha. So tell us specifically about the Dead Palace. It's an anthology, correct?
Correct.
I was gonna say, yeah. The Dead Palace. It's an anthology. What is there a certain theme of? I mean, obviously, besides horror, is there anything a cohesive theme throughout the anthology? Is there anything kind of that binds it together?
Dog.
There's dog. Yes.
Well, yeah. I think, as he said, we didn't want to do what everybody else is doing. I mean, horror, I think, especially in cinema right now, has a trend. And we wanted to go a little more cerebral, at least with each of our stories individually. We make sure to hit some sort of cerebral tone that's different than what's in cinema right now. And then apart from that, I wanted to make sure every story was visually unique from one another. So as you thumb through the book, you'll see that each story, you might be able to tell it's the same artist, but if not, it's each story's got sort of its own visual style. So yeah.
What did
Ben's really good at that too? Giving every story its own personality visually, and he's so good at bringing out those subtle aspects of the story and making each one different from the other one.
Why an anthology and why not? I mean, a full-on just series, ongoing kind of a 5-issue series.
ADD.
Okay.
Well, you know,
we have too many stories you want to tell. You know.
You know, it's actually really simply. It's a couple of things. Speaking just for myself, I love horror anthologies. One thing that I thought was kind of missing from ones that I've seen lately, though, has been just a sense of fun. And, you know, for me, a lot of them have been kind of like really kind of depressing as opposed to dark and fun, which is kind of a different thing. So that's what we are trying to do with this book. And there's actually one story in volume 1 called Butcher Queen that we've actually talked about.
Sounds like a romp.
Yeah. It's we're talking about making like a series out of that possibly. So that's definitely a possibility. But actually, this might be a good place to announce this. But we're going to be doing a Kickstarter for the Dead Palace Volume 2 at the end of July. So we're really excited about that. We have another batch of stories that we want to tell, and we just want to make the book more widely available and make more, basically, because it's been so much fun and got such a good reaction.
If there's not a ventriloquist story in there, Jim, I think you have some writing to do.
Yeah, write that down. Good idea.
Right now, I'm typing away.
Yes.
Well, see, the nice thing about this anthology, which is something maybe we thought about before, but not so directly, is that it's sort of like throwing candy out to everybody, and you see which ones everybody likes. Yeah. And when people say, "Well, I really like this story," then we'll go, "Okay, well, maybe we'll develop that one." And you know, there's a lot less commitment and overhead to writing an entire graphic novel when all you got to do is tell a short story and see if people grab onto it. Especially when you do it sort of like we're intending, where we'll do one, get feedback, make another one, get more feedback, and continue that process. So.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Jim, what are all the stories in the anthology written by you, or they're written by other people as well?
Actually, it's a collaborative effort. I do all the writing, and Ben does all the artwork.
Okay.
And we
I offer feedback every now and then, but he's got the writing mantle though. Just him. Yeah.
Awesome.
And he's got the artist hat. It works out really well.
It's beautiful. Is there Is there any stories in your anthology that are inspired by true events, or maybe urban legends or ghost stories that you've heard in your lifetime?
No, we've made one before, but it's not in this book.
Right.
Okay.
Bubblehead Road. Yeah. You want to tell
there's a myth of there's a myth in St. Louis where these mutants live down by the river, and kids would go try to find them, and never find them, sort of like Bigfoot. So we decided to make like well, post-mortem, it's a lot like Stranger Things, but we were first. But it's kind of a
sure.
Yeah. All right, so Goonies. I don't know. We'll give Goonies some credit, but kids on their bikes go look for these mutants and actually find them. And I won't say any more, but I think that's
they all live happily ever
I'm sure.
After.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure Jim, as a writer, pulls a lot of influences from his life, but a lot of our stuff's a little too grim to be real most of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially Butcher Queen.
Yeah, really. Well, actually the first story.
I don't know. I've known a couple of Butcher Queens in my life. Ben, am I right? Am I right?
Hey-o.
High five. Yeah, but there's in the Dead Palace Volume 1, the book we have now. The first story is called "There's a Dead Girl in My Chest," and that came from I was working at this book wholesaler place. And there was a guy who I had kind of befriended who had he was schizophrenic. He had a few, mental issues that he was dealing with, and he would take medication for them. But there was a span of time where he stopped taking his medication. And one time he whispered to me, he said, come here for a minute. And so I went over to him and he said, on my chest.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I said, you got a dead girl in your chest? And he goes, yeah, you want to talk to her? And I said, sure.
How can you talk to it? Number one, first question, how can you talk to a dead girl?
Yeah.
Dead,
well,
apparently.
Yeah.
if you read the Dead Palace, you'll find out.
Yes.
I'm glad that story went where it went, because I thought it was going to be a necrophilia story when you first started telling it. So
yes. I was very scared.
Yeah. We haven't done a necrophilia story yet.
Aha.
Yeah, I don't know about
necrophilia and ventriloquism in the next
But
volume 2.
no, but he started talking to me as this dead girl. His voice got sort of higher, and it was very strange. And he wasn't joking around. He was having real issues. But that really stuck with me. And then the story itself really has nothing to do with that incident, but just that there's a dead girl on my chest always stayed with me because it was so odd.
Yeah, I think that would stay with me too.
Yeah.
So
you don't hear that's not something you hear every day.
That's
Nope.
wild.
Yeah.
So guys, I have to ask, because you've thrown the name out there. I want to know a little bit about what Butcher Queen is about.
Yeah. Butcher Queen is about a detective. Sometime in the future, we're not exactly sure if it's planet Earth. It's never really specified. But basically, she has to go. There's this cult named the Terra Crepa cult, and one of their cult members escapes and makes it into the city, and she's hospitalized. And they're talking to her, and come to find out, Detective Sid Kiowa, our main protagonist, her partner was going undercover for the cult and disappeared like months before. And they were very close. They had lost complete contact, though. And this person they brought back from the cult, who stumbled in, injured, and everything else, she was like the one link they have to the location. So they found that, and she defies the orders of the police department because they don't want her to go alone. She ends up going alone, and she's convinced that she's going to find him. And what she finds instead is just this horrific sight that is beyond her nightmares, and it unlocks something in her that changes her future going forward. And something clicks, and she loses a piece of herself, and she becomes the character that we're going to explore in future books. And
from detective to Butcher Queen.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Hope that explanation wasn't too complicated.
No.
But I don't want to give too much away, because the reveal is really cool, I think.
Okay. Yeah. What Benjamin, what's your is there any book or any story in particular in the anthology that was your favorite to do the art for?
Butcher Queen was great. Honestly, I hate to keep repeating ourselves, but I made a conscious effort to do like a hand painted background with more of a cell shaded foreground, which was different for me. So that was really enjoyable. But the last two stories we put together were fun as well. The Atonement Lens, I drew all by hand with pencil, and then sort of kept that rough pencil look and colored it in Photoshop. And I really liked the way that one came out. Yeah. And then I always wanted to do stories with rough art like that, sort of an unfinished look, and I think I kind of pulled it off on that one. And then the one I'd finished just before that one, The Wolves and the Carrion, I thought had a really neat look. I dumped a lot of time into it, put a lot of detail into it, and it looks pretty gnarly, especially when the gore kicks in.
If the comic thing doesn't work out for you guys, you have a career in coming up with fantasy titles for books.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of that too.
Yeah.
The Wolves and the Carrion has a good ring to it. A Swedish metal band maybe. Yeah.
Love it. Can I borrow that one from my band?
Go for it.
Yeah. Do you play?
No.
And I'm partial to Butcher Queen for the metal band.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a good one.
I sing a little bit, Jim, but that's about it.
Let's do it.
You need a female vocalist though, right? You got to track one of those down.
It's okay.
Or a gay guy. We're progressive.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Sure.
That works.
Wait a minute. A horror
Jim,
themed Queen tribute band.
Oh.
Ooh.
Now you're just,
Butcher Queen.
Now you're just printing money.
Yes. Cha-ching. Where's our money? Our money sound, Casey. Cha-ching.
I think you guys need to rethink this whole comic book thing.
Yes. Jim, how about you, man? Do you have a favorite story in the anthology?
I think, gosh, I really love them all for different reasons. I think my favorite is probably I would have to say there's a dead girl on my chest. Just because I'm really happy with the pacing of it, and I love Ben's artwork. It's really hard because this is really I'm really proud of the whole thing. It's like, you know, every time somebody asks me, it's kind of a different story. I love the atonement lens because it's got such a weird vibe. Wolves in the Carrion I dig because it's got that sort of a Viking thing going on, and Butcher Queen is like just a really cool future noir horror sci-fi story, and I just I'm a big fan of what Ben's done with the artwork in the book, and but I say my favorite's probably right now. There's a dead girl on my chest. Probably because I really love the surprise in that one, and yeah, it's fun. I don't want to give that away either, but
yeah, it's good.
You just like telling people you wrote a story called like, "There's a dead girl on my chest."
It's a seller, man. We've worked a few conventions with this book, and that's the first one he opens with. And you see people go from sort of a pensive sort of, I'll let you run your spiel while I sit here and listen. And then he says that, and they snap to attention. They go, okay.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, necrophilia, huh? All right, I'm into it. Keep talking.
It's good. I'm buying. But how is
there's no necrophilia in the book. I just want to stress that.
Yes.
Yeah, disclaimer.
Hey, whatever sells a book, Jim. Don't there's people wanting some necrophilia and they want to buy a book. Don't let them find out for themselves.
That's true. That's true. You're right.
We'll watch your comments and see if the outcry is there.
Yeah.
If so, then we'll satisfy.
We're doing it. Volume 2.
Yeah.
How has your book been received? I mean, aside from getting people's attentions and when you're giving your speech at the cons, how's your book been received when you take it out to shows?
Big group of necrophiliacs online that just started really hard.
Numbers just went up. Ding ding.
The next book is going to have a necrophilia story. Just wait.
We're gonna have necrophilia on the cover. Now,
yes.
All this talk. No, this has actually been one of our better received books. Jim and I have been working together for years, and we've never sold out of a book at a show before. So yeah, so we sold 50 copies in a few hours in St. Louis, and yeah, so we haven't had much exposure with it. It's still kind of new.
Yeah, but
that's more attention than we've ever gotten before, and it was a light show too. It wasn't a lot of. It was one of St. Louis's lighter shows. We still sold out anyway. I could probably attribute some of that to Jim's amazing salesmanship, but he's quite the salesperson.
Buy our book, please. That's what it was.
I'm the typical shy artist. Like, oh, you want to see this? No, okay.
No, okay.
Next show, whip out the ventriloquist dummies and see how many books you really sell.
Oh boy, I don't know. Yeah. Hopefully people don't react like his kids do and run away.
Yes, and run the other way. Yes.
Hopefully not.
Yeah,
before a free comic book day event. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Good. You did free comic book day. Where in St. Louis?
I was gonna say. Yeah, we did that in St. Louis at a couple places and sold out there as well. So what we decided to do was instead of we're going to have it at some upcoming conventions as well, but we're going to be really pushing the Kickstarter at the end of July. For Volume 2, and people can pick that up as well as Volume 1 if they haven't had a chance to get that.
Yeah, a lot of our rewards are going to have the first book with it, so a lot of first timers will be able to pick that up. So
yeah. So what's so do you guys have information right now on where we can find your book or where the Kickstarter is going to be at?
Yeah, actually, you can find us on Facebook, the Dead Palace on there, and
we're everywhere, right? Twitter, Instagram, all that. Yeah,
Twitter and Instagram as well. Yeah.
Okay, and it's all the Dead Palace.
Yes,
it is. Yes.
Okay, excellent. So I want to ask you guys. You said you've been working together for years. What was the first book you guys put out together?
Well, we met at the Ink and Drink meeting. Jim, what was our first story we worked on together? What was that? Do you remember?
I think it was for the romance anthology.
Hold
on, I got the story. That was the first one, I think. Yeah.
Now, Bubblehead Road was pretty early. I remember. Yeah, that's our book. That's a big one.
The Great Pretender.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think you might be right.
Yeah, that was
Still one of my favorite.
And The Great Pretender was I wrote there with Oscar Madrid, and Ben did the artwork, and it's kind of a sort of a takeoff on 50s style Archie comics, but our protagonist that are the female protagonist falls for is a hermaphrodite.
Oh,
yeah, has both sets of
genitalia
here, as it were. And it's sort of a twisted love story with lots of double entendres, and it's a fun story.
Lots of twists and turns.
Yeah, as you can imagine. Yeah.
Yes.
But that was our first one together, and we've done comedy things together, and sci-fi and horror things, and it's fun to touch on all that stuff, and that's what's great about working on anthologies. And with Ink and Drink specifically, they throw out, okay, this anthology is going to be this genre. What do you got? And you got to come up with something and pitch it, and hopefully they like it.
Yeah. All right, I have a story. It's a ventriloquist necrophiliac. And...
I'm writing this down.
Here we go. Let's do it.
Just kidding. That was all.
So instead of using his hand for the puppet, okay, never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, see, you got it. There you go. You brainstormed this.
Ben's got it. He's fine. Ben, do you have a favorite genre that you like to do art for?
Sci-fi is the hardest, but it's the most fun. I've been absorbed. Top 5 movies, Take to a Desert Island. They're all sci-fi. Star Wars, Starship Troopers, Fifth Element. It's like I'm just Blade Runner, just inundated with sci-fi my entire life. So hover bikes, flying cars, bounty hunters, aliens. It's just sort of been my thing my whole life. So
Ben, I think we just became best friends.
All right. Always like these friends. But sci-fi is also one of the hardest. I mean, like there's easier genres out there. Even fantasy can have a lot of forests and castles and dragons and things like that. And that's easy in comparison to some dystopian skyscraper city full of flying cars and the typical Blade Runner scene with ramen shops and neon lights and a favela's amount of power lines. And it's just, sci-fi is just the hardest. Plus, if you ever have to draw robots and vehicles, and it's really the most intricate, but it's the most engaging for me. It's
where sci-fi
maybe because I think we're gonna get there someday. Maybe that's what's enticing about it.
Where sci-fi art always goes wrong, and it goes wrong in the movies too, is with aliens. Like the chances of us finding another humanoid alien that has 2 arms and 2 legs is like a bajillion to 1. Yeah, every other alien has 2 arms and 2 legs. It's like, no, this is not right. What's wrong with this picture?
So I'm a huge fan of the Mass Effect series, and the original trilogy had a lot going for it because most of the aliens looked really different. Granted, a lot of them were on 2 legs, but there were some that just looked like, squids or, they kind of branched out a little bit. Yeah. And then the new game happened, and they go to Andromeda, our neighboring galaxy, and they find 2 new alien species, and they just look like Star Trek characters. They're both bipedal. They somehow speak English.
One's green.
They have green or blue skin.
Yep.
Stuff on their forehead.
I want like a gas ball.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, just a ball of gas.
Yeah. Are you guys familiar with
just like a blurred...
the Fermi Paradox?
The what? What's that bit?
The Fermi Paradox. There's 2 big videos on it on the internet. But it's that the universe is so big and has such a huge timeline that the chances that we're going to find another civilization in the same technological window of space travel is like trillions to 1. It's impossible. But and that we'll find a civilization, but it'll have been gone for a few billion years, or we'll find them at their infancy where they're just evolving, or like imagine if aliens came here a few million years ago, it wouldn't be worth finding. So like our spacefaring civilization is like a few thousand years, such a small window on a billion years timeline. So yeah, the whole alien thing is kind of romantic, and so
absolutely
look it up. It's a fun video. Depressing, but fun.
I have an idea for next time you draw an alien. Just draw a like a blurred box and then you can just say it's so you can't even comprehend it with your brain because you've never seen anything like it. Like that's the shit I want to.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg,
do you remember,
Yeah.
Do you remember Fart from Rick and Morty?
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. What I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, Morty.
Oh my God. Jim, so I have to ask you: is there anything you can tease that you'll plan to be putting in the next volume of the Dead Palace?
Yeah. There's a story we're working on now called "Heaven is the Ocean Below," and it's kind of a it takes place. It's one of those stories that kind of takes place on Earth, but sort of maybe not as Earth-like, and you're not kind of sure of the time period, but it involves love, kaiju, and steampunk.
Ooh.
And it's really weird. It's kind of a Lovecraftian.
Have you seen Colossal yet?
Well,
Oh my gosh, no, I have
that?
not.
Oh, you might be treading in some colossal territory there.
oh, really? Okay.
Maybe.
I like love and kaiju. You said some magic words for me.
I know. I can't wait to draw that.
Yes.
It's a weird kind of a emotional little story, and I'm really excited to finish it and get it to Ben and get rolling on it.
Yeah, I sent him an image a few months ago as a Lovecraft fan art thing, and I said, "Give me some mind-altering horror, world-ending mind-altering horror." And he's like, "Okay." So this is what he's working on.
I can do
Yep.
that. I can do that.
It did the trick. It was cool.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Casey? Right now?
I was gonna say he just called the kids in here and for inspiration for mind-altering horror. It was a callback thing.
Yeah.
Gone now.
Is there anything in the first book that you didn't get a chance to do that you'd like to do for the second one?
I don't know. Since I was pretty proud of it. It's definitely one of my most proud pieces. It was Rough and Tumble was my most proud piece before that. It's sort of a trend, I guess, with artists. As long as you're developing, the newest thing you make should be your next favorite, and it really is. Right. And it's kind of holding up. My next achievement is actually to slow down a little bit. A lot of the artists I really appreciate can't crank out a page a day. It's a very unrealistic for them. Right. And the artists that do a page a day don't do everything. They don't do pencil, ink, color, letters, and whatever else. They'll do a pencil a page a day. So I need to really slow down and really aspire to be more like the artists that I'm inspired by, and not really be so proud at a page a day when that can cause lack in quality. So tremendously proud of the last book. I fully anticipate to be exponentially more proud of the next one, and I think it's due to I'm just gonna take my time and maybe do a page every 3 days, hopefully. Yeah. I know it's really gonna slow things down, but I know the book will look ridiculously crazier and better with that sort of time scale. So that's my goal. Yeah.
Sounds beautiful, man. Sounds beautiful. What where can our listeners and followers find you, your stuff specifically on the interwebs?
I am Sketch Sawyer everywhere. So yeah. So Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, Twitch, Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, Facebook, everywhere. So I don't know how much Google will ping if you just type that into Google, but if you go to any social platform, that's me.
Yeah, awesome.
So, yeah.
Jim, sir, where can listeners find you on Twitter, on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff?
Yep, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter at Jim Ousley, and I'm on Instagram as well, Jim Ousley or radio_Jimbo. You can find me all those places.
Yeah, excellent. Your space is hailing us. and Jim, drop us, that's what it's like. Drop us the info on the book, The Dead Palace, one more time.
I'm sorry?
Drop us the info on The Dead Palace and where to find that.
Oh yeah, you can find us at on Twitter at the Dead Palace. Instagram is also the Dead Palace, and we're on Facebook as well. Also on there.
Okay, cool. And the Kickstarter for Volume 2 is going to hit when you said in July.
That's gonna be last week in July is what we're aiming for, and we're getting the different levels together, and
sure,
we're gonna have some really cool, rewards for people, really cool T-shirts and posters and prints and all that kind of cool stuff. So,
and a super sexy pitch video. That's essential.
Yes. So what are you going to be wearing in it then, Ben?
Well, let's just say the camera is only going to be from the chest up, but nothing.
Oh,
just a sexy patch of chest hair.
Yeah, if we reach our level, one of our stretch goals is be able to see what's going on under that.
Ah, good.
Yeah.
You're literally dangling the carrot, eh?
Absolutely.
Hey-o. Score went up for me tonight, Walsh.
Right.
I usually leave the zingers to you. Guys, we're going to talk a little bit about our week in Geek and comics and all that stuff. You guys want to stick around for a few minutes?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Mr. Walsh, since we haven't done this in a while, why don't you lead the way tonight? And what do you want to talk about first?
Oh, well, I think there's only one thing to talk about and one thing we only have time to talk about, and that is Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Here, let me do my shocked surprise voice. It was really good. It was good. I liked it a lot.
How was Wonder Woman, Casey?
It was good. I really enjoyed
it. All right, man. So I'm gonna say when it comes to movies, you're definitely more critical than I am. So why don't you tell me about what you liked about it first?
I liked the first and second acts a lot. I think it told a really good origin story. I think Gal Gadot. I don't know if this is
Gal Gadot,
whatever her fucking name is. the Israeli princess,
the goddess supreme. Gal Gadot.
I think I don't know this, and I think I need to see her in another movie before I judge her on this. On her acting ability, because a lot of people are like, oh, she did so well. Well, she acted naive really well. So I just don't know if she's just a bad actress and she's just able to act. Is she just naive in general and that's just coming through in the character, or if that's just her being able to act that well. So I feel like she acted really well in the part, but I need to see more of her. Like
her part in Batman vs Superman wasn't enough for you, I guess.
Yeah, the 2 lines she had Batman and the green screen. Yeah, and I think the message of this movie is really done well. I think the No Man's Land scene in particular is something that will probably go down as like one of the greatest action scenes ever. It's really well done and well choreographed, and that's just the highlight of the movie. I mean, just go see the movie just for that scene alone. I think is well worth it. I think the movie takes a fucking dive off a cliff in the third act. And I so. If Ares wanted to win, if he wanted to win, all he had to do was never show up to that fucking factory. Game over. Like, we're done with this whole conversation. I think, and also this is funny too, as much as they wanted to make that big reveal of him being the bad guy, the spoiler alert, by the way, we're going to talk spoilers. I think we should have said that beforehand. That they're going to make the big reveal of him being the bad guy, of who he was. My wife, who is Will, you met many times, is not a comic book person. As soon as that guy popped up on the screen, she's like, "Oh, he's the bad guy, isn't he?" It's like, yeah, probably. So I feel like things like that were, and I didn't understand Ares' plan. If he is influencing everyone, why is he trying to get the Accord signed? And it didn't make any sense why he was he was only that guy for shock value. You know what I mean? So you could say oh, look what we did. It's not the typical dude. So just stuff like that. I think the villains were really bad. In fact, there's one moment where Dr. Poison and the German guy throw I'm laughing just thinking about it. They throw that canister into the room or whatever, and then they throw that gas mask in. And she's like, "Why did you throw the gas mask in?"
But the gas mask doesn't work.
They don't know that. Oh, I just wanted to twirl his mustache.
They don't know this.
Yeah. Oh boy. So there's kind of like moments like that are like, all right, guys, I see. All right, I guess. But other than that, I think it's better than it's miles beyond Batman and Superman and Man of Steel and Suicide Squad put together. So,
God, thank God.
flaws aside,
Can you rank it against your favorite Marvel movie?
I mean, I would put it up there because I always rank movies on how watchable they are, and I feel like this is a movie I will watch over and over again because it is watchable. I think that's the problem with Batman v Superman is it's fucking unwatchable. Like it's just like it's so depressing and so sad, and there's nothing like uplifting about it that you'd have no reason to watch it again. So I think I would put this up with probably like Civil War and Winter Soldier and Doctor Strange. I love Doctor Strange. That third act is fucking brilliant.
Pretty great.
Yeah. I would put up those movies because I think it's insanely watchable. I think you're gonna see gifts of No Man's Land and those fight scenes over and over again till the end of time.
For a while.
For a while. Yeah, until Spider-Man comes out at least. So so yeah, I think it has these great moments. Once again, I don't think it's a perfect film by any means, and I think we're maybe blowing up a little too much in the hype. I think as mansplaining as this is gonna fucking sound, and I apologize before I mansplain to everybody, but like Wonder Woman was an icon long before this movie came out. This movie has not like all of a sudden propelled her into like iconic like character status. Like she's always been an icon for feminism and females, and I think the fact that this movie was success is something that should be celebrated. But I don't think we should like drop all of our and say like, oh, they fixed their problems, like everything's good now. Like female superhero movies are good. Like they're all gonna be fucking fantastic now. They're all gonna make money. They're all gonna be greenlit now. Like that's not it's not gonna happen.
Have
like,
we had a female superhero movie since Elektra though?
Ghost in the Shell.
Oh well, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that bombed horribly. And I think, but that's my point though. Is like I don't think gender or sexuality or I don't think any of that shit. I think you can make a Midnighter movie, and if it was fucking good, and it stars a gay guy who beats serious ass, and it's hard art. I think if it was good, I think people would go see it. And it would make $100 million. I don't think character. I don't think any of that shit matters. I don't think gender or any of that shit matters. I think what matters is the character important to people? Does she resonate with people? And is the movie good? And I think that's what we need to take away from this is like the movie's good. That's why it's successful. It's not successful because she has a vagina. Like that's maybe number 3 reason why it's successful, not number 1. I think that's what we need to take into account. Like I don't think this means we should like go ahead and like greenlight a Black Widow movie. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like does it work in the universe? Do they have a good story for it? Fine, but don't go start making Catwomans and Supergirls because you think
that's what was so good about this movie was that the origin story was done so well, and it was Gal Gadot I thought was really terrific as Wonder Woman. It was nice, you know, being a fan of her since I was a kid, you know, and seeing it done right. Yeah. I would agree with the third act got, you know, a little messy, but the first 2 acts and that the scene in No Man's Land was just fantastic. It was unbelievable. You know, for me, I put it up there with the first Captain America movie, which is one of my favorites. I love Winter Soldier, but the first Captain America just captured something so cool about his origin and everything else. I would compare Wonder Woman pretty closely to that for me, and that's why I liked it so much. Is the time setting was done so well, and I just thought it was really a lot of fun and done correctly. Surprisingly,
I think one of the things, you know, I'm gonna agree with you on that, Jim, and I think one of the things that I really enjoyed and other films like Captain America: The First Avenger is they take superheroes and they put them in a very real life historical setting, something, you know, we know a lot about in history that played a big role in shaping our society and the foundations of humanity. And when you put a superhero character in a way that it's believable that they could be in that scenario, I think that's what makes a really cool movie rather than just, you know, having explosions and funky costumes and shit like that. Just having that real life scenario, you know, with our fictional superheroes, to me, kind of just puts it on a different level, and it's more believable to me. And I think that's one of the things I really appreciate about this film, along with the origin story and beautiful actress they put at the lead of Wonder Woman. I think that to me is one of the things that resonated with me most, because I mean, history, back in my school days was always one of my favorite subjects, and kind of learning about those big life altering, society altering events. So kind of having those two things mix really makes for a good movie to me anyways. But that's definitely one of the things I appreciated about it.
Yeah, I think also that's why, like in the third act, when she's fighting the big bad, and there's like the big explosions and the special effects and everything else. It was
the
much
Warner
more
Brothers
interesting.
mandate lightning and fire.
Yeah.
We need at least 20 minutes of lightning and fire. And
Not enough lightning
explosions.
and fire. Let's go.
Right, yeah.
Let's go, kids.
You need to fight a CGI monster. All right,
Yeah.
check. All right, we're good.
But like in the first two acts, though, it was cool because you were seeing her in a war setting, and before that, it was also kind of the war setting where they were coming into their world. And in a lot of ways, I kind of feel like with things like Superman, for example, I really enjoy, even though it was before my time, I enjoy like the old Superman TV series, because
the George Reeves one.
The George Reeves one, because they're taking the super alien and putting him in, having him mix it up with like real normal people and actual criminals who don't have superpowers. And I think that's it allows for such a better examination of that character and how he feels so different, and how that affects how he relates to the world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As opposed to another Ben, who's equally as powerful and everything else.
All right, absolutely. Ben, your thoughts on Wonder Woman?
I'm a loser. I have not gotten to see it yet.
Not enough necrophilia for Ben.
I know. That's why I've been so quiet. I'm sorry. I was going to see it Sunday, and just kind of fell through the cracks. But
yeah. Are you at least excited about going to see it?
I'm super excited.
Hearing how positive the reviews have been.
Yeah, I kind of hate that. I hate going into a theater with expectations. I would prefer to go in with lower expectations, like I was with Ghost in the Shell. And I actually didn't think it was horrible, but that's because I went in with like the worst expectations. But everybody's been talking this up pretty well. Let me say bigly, and I don't know what to expect now. But
it's huge, Ben. It's huge. Wonder Woman's huge.
Big stuff, man.
Freaking huge.
Hey Ben, you know what? We'll go to the cemetery, have some fun with some dead people, and then we'll go see Wonder Woman together.
Ooh, that sounds like a date. I love it.
I'll bring my ventriloquist dummies.
I'll bring the red wine.
I think I need I want to fly down to St. Louis for this.
Come on in.
We'll live stream it for you.
It'll be a boys' night out.
Yes. Beautiful. Casey, what would you like to see for Wonder Woman 2?
What would I would like to see them explain why her bracelets have magical powers, because they seem to just do whatever she wants them to do whenever she needs them to do it. That was the problem I have with that movie. Like, wait a second, why is this happening? What else would I would like to see? Man, I don't want to spoil something for Jim, so I'm not going to say it, because there's something I wish they had not had done. That I really wish that could be in number 2. I want to see Cheetah in Dr. Minerva, I think. I think that's, Wonder Woman's Rogues Gallery is not particularly deep. So not
Isn't Cheetah like one of her main enemies?
Cheetah would be her main bad guy. I'd maybe like to see Hades, and maybe go another god route, maybe Apollo. I think Apollo is one of her villains in the Azarillo run, maybe. I don't know, stuff like that.
If they do Cheetah, it'd be really cool if she growls like she did on Super Friends. Remember, she would like end the sentence and she would go.
After the mustache twirling villains, I would not be surprised. And Patty Jenkins did say like she was purposely being campy like in some of the scenes in this movie, so I would not be. There's literally like a pull straight from Christopher Reeve's Wonder Woman or Superman movie that she stole straight up.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
That was another thing too, Will, and tell me how you feel about this. The end, and once again, I'm trying to avoid spoilers as I can. The end of this movie for a particular character is the end of Captain America. It's the exact same ending. Like, exactly. And so it's like, oh, okay, I guess you guys totally forgot about this hero that's been out for 5 years and has this very like particular way that he like ends his World War II career.
Oh yeah.
Steal it.
Yeah.
All right, I see what you're doing. Yeah, so I mean, I like I said, it makes me more. I think it makes me less excited for Justice League, if that's weird.
Yeah,
because what this movie showed me, and I'm gonna get so much hate for this because everyone loves Zack Snyder for God knows what reason, and my heart goes out to him for, of course, the tragedy he suffered. But the reason this movie was good is because it did everything that Zack Snyder. It did everything that he does wrong. It didn't do any. Wait, what am I saying that right? It did everything right that he does wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not dark, it's not dreary, it's hopeful. It understands the character, it understands their motivations, it understands them moving forward, it sets them up nicely moving forward. Like, I feel like we're gonna lose that when we go back to Justice League, and it's gonna be because if you think about it, like at the end of this movie, she's hopeful. Like, she's kind of like has this she has this new outlook on humanity. She's smiling, she's happy.
Sure.
But in Batman v Superman, like, she's like, oh, I'm never gonna fight in a war again. Like, I'm mad, I'm bitter. Men are evil. I fought monsters before. It's like, all right, wait, which one is it? Like, so either something happened between World War I and that Batman v Superman where she started hating humanity again. So like, you know what I mean? There's this weird. It's like, I think that's what Marvel does so well, and DC hasn't really caught on yet, is like, despite who's directing the movie, there's a cohesion going forward. So like, those little things aren't missed. And I feel like that's what DCEU does so terribly, is like, they're all making individual movies, and if they just happen to fit together, great. If they don't, then hopefully you don't notice.
Yeah.
Did you guys see do you guys follow Nerd Writer on YouTube? And did you see his Zack Snyder breakdown with scenes versus moments?
No.
It's fascinating. I'm one of his patrons. His videos are awesome, but it's basically all of Snyder's shortcomings in that all of his scenes aren't scenes; they're just moments. They seem like disconnected little, unearned
vignettes,
and they don't feel like thought out scenes and something like that. It's really interesting. So I would definitely go look that up. But
that's why
I'm curious.
I think he would be a great director if he had a co-director. Like, you handle the storyboarding and the visual aspect. I'll handle the writing and the pushing the story and the plot forward. And maybe together we can make something great. But I think he's so focused on like the shot that he misses out on how the shot got to be in the first, or how we got to that shot.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see Wonder Woman and see how that's going to stack up to Justice League, and see if we can see those exact examples, see like all the great scenes that were in Wonder Woman, and we'll have to transition from that back to Justice League where we just get a strange collage of moments.
Well, guys, I want to say something. I believe in Wonder Woman.
Okay.
And I believe that she'll find hope again.
Yes.
And we'll see it through this November. I just feel it in my heart.
Yes. Let's do it. Together. That's awesome. That's good. Well, I thoroughly love the movie, man. I definitely want to go see it again, really ingest everything fully, and obviously it's we're not the only ones that feel that way. So looking forward to
the $100 million is what I can say. If people liked it, so
so we're good.
Doesn't need us telling you it's good.
That's right. But guys, I think that's a good spot to wrap. Gentlemen, this is where we close up the show and we do our final thoughts. So Benjamin, I'll let you go first, and just final last minute to plug or say or do whatever you want, man. So take us away, sir.
Follow me, Sketch Sawyer, for soon coming exclusive Jim Ousley ventriloquist. I dropped the word. I dropped it. Necrophilia. Yes. Soon, puppet necrophilia coming your way, July 27th.
Wait, I got a name for you. Stiff as a board.
There you go. I love it.
Print
it. 2. Boom. Print the green.
No, guys. Honestly, though, it was a lot of fun talking to you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Benjamin Sawyer. We appreciate having you on, man. We hope to get you guys back on again when Volume 2 goes to print.
Excellent. That'd be
Absolutely.
great.
Mr. Jim Ousley, final thought for this evening, sir?
Yeah, just thanks for having us on. It was really fun talking with you guys, and you can catch me on Twitter, not talking about necrophilia, or maybe at Jim Ousley and Dead Palace, the Dead Palace on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So check us out there, please, and we'll keep you updated.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for being on, sir. Have a lot of fun when you guys hit up the cemetery and the Wonder Woman's.
We'll
tell us all about it.
We'll tell you all about it.
Beautiful. Thank you, man.
Thanks, guys.
Mr. Walsh, what do you got for your final thought this evening, sir?
Oh, the usual. You guys should all go to thegww.com. Right now, we have an exclusive preview of Batman number 24 from Tom King and David Finch and Clay Mann out Wednesday, and you can only see the preview at thegww.com. What else do we have over there? I should probably look at the website. There's other stuff too. It's not just that. There's a review of Injustice 2, which I'm loving to death. If you're a DC fan and you love video games, I highly recommend Injustice 2. So much fun. Yeah, I really I wish I could. I'll talk about it next week, Will, but it's taking my life away. And it's gonna be bad.
Yeah,
I may have to go to rehab. What else? There's gonna be a Pokemon Direct tomorrow. So make sure you guys stick to the site for that. We'll have news on that. We also have interviews with Kyle Starks about Dead of Winter board game made into a comic from OD Press on the site. What else? And there is an interview with Chip Zdarsky from the guys over at Jake and Tom Conquer the World. So tons of stuff to see on the gww.com. Make sure you guys check out Will's Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout review. You guys are not going to find a more comprehensive collection of all of the pictures and happenings from inside the ride. So if you're a fan, I would check that out. Also, make sure you guys are sticking to the website every week for our American Gods coverage and our reviews.
Beautiful. Thank you, sir. It's good talking to you again. It's good being back on the shows with you, man.
Yeah. As soon as this kid pops out, man, we'll get this shit back going regularly. Goddamn kids.
You got it, buddy. Look forward to it, man. As always, people, check us out on Twitter at Capes Crew, where you can find us ranting and raving about all the days, weeks, exciting geek news. You can find me on Twitter at Darth Sparrow, as in Darth Vader Sparrow, whatever you want to call me. Anyways, you can find me there. And as always, guys, thanks for listening. And we look forward to seeing you next week when we'll be able to catch you on the geek side.